Black Laws, 7th edition. Subject. 1. Who owes allegiance to a sovereign and is governed by that sovereign's laws. The monarchy's subjects. Allegiance. A citizen's or subject's obligation of fidelity and obedience to the government or sovereign in return for the benefits of the protection of the state. Oath or affirmation of citizenship in Canada. I swear or affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Canada and fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen. Black Laws. The word servitude. The condition of being bound to service. The state of a person who is subjected voluntarily or otherwise to another person as his servant. Here in Canada, the way the hierarchy structure is set up, we have a sovereign, and that sovereign is considered Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of Canada. And we are, human beings, men and women, are considered her subjects through an oath or pledge of allegiance to her. And we are considered in servitude to her and her laws of Canada. Now when you look into Black Laws dictionary, it describes to us, it informs us, it teaches us that servitude is the state or the condition of a person who is subjected voluntarily. Now notice that, voluntarily, you do it willfully, or otherwise. So involuntarily. They're subjected to another person as his servant. This is exactly what's transpiring here in Canada. Again, we have a sovereign, and a Canadian citizen must pledge allegiance to this sovereign, and in doing so, they become her subject, and they are serving this sovereign, and are being held in servitude. So the Canadian citizen is being held in servitude to the laws of Canada, and to the sovereign. Involuntary servitude. See involuntary. Involuntary. Without will or power of choice, opposed to volition or desire. Black Laws. Implied consent. Consent inferred from one's conduct rather than from one's direct expression, also termed implied permission. Servitude can be voluntarily or it can be otherwise. Now, when you look at the word consent, it says consent can be voluntary or it can be implied. Implied consent. Now they imply that you consent to be in servitude, that you consent to be a subject through your actions, through your conduct, the way you hold yourself and the things that you say and do. Now, they also force your consent through threats and fear, trying to force you into servitude. So you understand that you don't want to be considered a subject or a servant of Her Majesty, and that you shouldn't have to follow her enactments or her regulations, because these are corporate statutes or regulations and they don't apply to men and women, and you don't want to be held in servitude to them. They try and involuntarily force you to be held in servitude, or they try to apply fear and threats against you to hold you in servitude. But guess what? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedoms, Article 4, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 8, subsection 2, no one shall be held in servitude. You may not be aware of this, or you may be aware of it. And if you're not, I hope I'm exposing something new for you. But in international law, there is a right that exists for all of us, for every man and woman that understands these laws. And you find it in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, Article 4, and in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 8. It states that no one shall be held in servitude. Do you see that? That presents a choice. That presents an option for you. No one shall be held in servitude. It's your choice who you're going to serve, if you're going to serve anyone. This is a human right, a fundamental right and freedom. And after World War II, the nations of the earth gathered together and they agreed upon this common law right. No one can force you into servitude. So, for example, if another Hitler ever arose within the context of our world and tried to force us into servitude, there would be a law that we could stand on that said, you cannot force me into servitude. Well, it doesn't only apply in that situation. It applies in all aspects of our right. This is a human right that is recognized. This is a fundamental right that is recognized, that we can claim and stand under, that you cannot force me into servitude. Now, as you saw in my prior video that I recently released, I showed you that Canada, as a signatory to these covenants here, they had the obligation, according to Article 2, to express these rights and freedoms within their own Constitution Act, within their own Constitution laws of their country. And they did. When you look, we have in Article 7 where it states, everyone has the right to liberty. Well, the opposite of servitude is liberty. So in our Constitution Act of Canada, this fundamental freedom has been secured for us. And we have the right not to be deprived of this liberty. But it's up to us to exercise that right.